Hey all, and welcome back to Fuzzy Ducksy Gaming, and another video hoping to help people have as smooth a league start as possible, considering all the changes coming our way in 3.15 Expedition League. Now before we get into the nitty gritty of the video, I just want to say I'm going to bring out an additional video with things to look out for that will affect your build in the patch notes, because I'm already seeing lots of build guides come out that if you follow, you're going to be in big trouble by the time you get to your league start. I'll be bringing this video out hopefully within the next 12 hours. So without further ado, let's look at 10 uniques you can no longer live without in Path of Exile. Number 1 is an old favourite, and that's Combs Roots. Now these boots were really popular for a while, but as movement speed increased on boots and influence mods became better and better, these boots became pretty suboptimal to wear. However, there are two huge changes with this patch that I think will have a lot of people flocking back to these boots. So for anyone that's not aware, these boots stop you from being slowed below your base action speed. Now for 3.15, that's important for us twofold. Firstly, chill and freeze will not affect us negatively, so we will still get those effects, but it won't affect our action speed. And this is the one element that people really want to make an effort to avoid, because a lot of mobs chill you, and it can just be really frustrating if you run out of chill flask charges and then you're getting slowed in maps, it takes longer to clear, or worse, you get killed because you can't move out the way. It also means we don't have to worry about temp chains on maps because we can't be slowed. Then normally these two things would not be enough of a reason to use these boots, but due to the changes and also the lack of movement speed we're going to see in 3.15, I think these are a really good option. With things like Adrenaline and Quicksilver Flask being killed, the downside of movement speed is kind of lessened because we're not going to be going as zoom as we were before anyway. Number 2 is a unique ring called Dream Fragments. It's another ring to look out for to trivialize chill. It offers a massive chunk of cold resistance and also makes you immune to chill and freeze. So this is a really good way to deal with cold ailments while also keeping some decent stats on the ring itself. Number 3 is Praxis, or in general, jewelry or chest items that have reduced mana cost on them. Mana multipliers have seen a huge increase across all support gems, meaning a lot of builds now function differently, or some don't function at all with their buffs up because they don't have enough mana to even use their skill. So this ring or any minus mana cost stuff really helps because it lessens the pressure on mana sustain. Praxis is also really good for leveling because it's got increased mana regen, and again the minus cost to your skills. Number 4 is really just claws in general. Now I think once builds are fleshed out, claws are going to make a bit of a comeback this league, and that's really for several reasons. Firstly, Nightblade support got a massive buff, and it's one of the only gems that really got positively affected by patch notes. Also, the Poison gem has been renamed, and it now offers a massive multiplier to damage over time when you land a critical strike. So I think claws could see their way back into poison builds, and certain poison builds really thrive in. Claw nodes also provide you with mana and life leech inherently, and you get them in good amount, so there's no need to path to separate nodes for leech or look to get it on gear. Also, claws come with modifiers that either give you life or mana gain on hit, and this can be equally important for mana or life, especially because a lot of people are looking towards life tap as a permanent support gem, and life on hit obviously helps you sustain that life. The 5th item, okay, this one's always been popular, but I think it's going to be even more expensive than previous leagues, is Atziri's Foible. Now we were lucky lastly because we had the Vial Keys and these would drop in for fun, and they ended up basically worthless. Now I don't know if it's been confirmed yet whether these keys will still exist, but I think due to mana issues, these items will be sought after more than ever. We're going to move on to a weapon now, number 6, and again, it's a long forgotten relic, which is the Ichimonji Sword. Now this is a sword that used to be used in a lot of builds, and again it fell out of favour due to power creeping and much better options being available. However, for some builds, especially in hardcore, I think this item could see some love. It's a great option for things like General's Cry builds, or physical builds in general. Now it has acceptable physical damage, but it does have 2 mods that are really highly sought after. The first one is 5% reduced mana reserved, and if you're dual wielding, that makes it up to 10. Now this could be the difference between being able to use your skill comfortably or not at all, or being able to fit in an extra damage aura. It also gives us 10% increased effective buffs on you, and yes, that includes Fortify. So again, dual wielding, you're getting 20% of any of your buffs. Now the reason I mentioned it was good for General's Cry is because it has decent damage, but also has the Fortified buffs and increased buffs to keep us alive. However, it does have a downside in that the aura buffs we have don't affect our allies, which would be minions and things like that. And our allies' aura buffs also do not affect us. So it's definitely a solo person's item, but I think this can make a bit of a comeback this league. Number 7, we'll move on, and it's Devotos Devotion. This again, it is still used, but it's something that's become less and less used league after league. Now this helmet does have its drawbacks. It has 10% less global physical damage, and it has no life. But if you can work this into something like a Chaos dot build or a pure Elemental build, that negates the damage part of it. It does also have some huge upsides. It has 20% increased movement speed, up to 25% chaos resistance, 16% attack speed, and lots of dex and evasion. Moving on to number 8, and it's another favourite, which is Crown of the Inward Eye. It's a unique that now is dirt cheap because Cirrus drops it all the time. What this helmet offers us is up to 21% increased life, mana, and energy shield, which on its own is pretty decent. It also gives us transfiguration of body, mind, and soul. Essentially what this means is energy shield increases applied to spell damage at 30%, life increases applied to attack damage at 30%, and maximum mana increases also applied to damage at 30% of their value. Now this could be a really good way to make up for lost damage, especially as I think a lot of builds in some way or another are going to have to get their mana pool up to work properly. Coming on to the penultimate item is Thieves Torment Ring. Now this one will be huge for leveling and will be really good even to mid-tier, late-tier yellow maps. Now it has a huge downside, this ring. Well, it has two. It's got no life on it and you can't use another ring. You automatically think, well, that ring's rubbish, why would I use that? But in return, you get 24% all res, or up to 24% all res. You get 40 to 60 life gain on hit from attacks. And more importantly, you get 30 mana gained for each hit. This will really help negate some of the mana issues that builds are going to see and maybe aren't expecting to come into. This ring could solve all of those problems. Now it has another massive benefit, which before was really overlooked, but now because of the way flasks work, it's a massive help. It gives you 50% reduced effect of curses on you. So even if you can't get immune to curses, at least running this ring, basically the effect is going to be halved. And then last but not least, this one I'm not sure about yet, but I thought I'd throw it in the mix anyway, is the Stampede Boots. Now these are Blight unique boots, so you can anoint them with any anointment you can put on an amulet, which is already a huge plus point. Now these boots were still used by some minion builds. Essentially what these do is they set your movement speed to a certain level, so it's 150% of your base value. What this means is that anything movement speed related, whether it's increase or decreases, do not affect your movement speed. So Quicksilver Flask won't do anything. If there's something that reduces your movement speed, it won't do anything. But the 150% is a really nice base. It also comes with 40% increased mana regeneration, which is really helpful. And the reason I think it might see some use is you can get up to 80% reduced recovery rate of travel skills. So this is basically a replacement for Second Wind now that that's in the dumpster. So this gives you good movement speed, good mana recovery, and really good recovery of movement skills. Now, it's not the same as Calm's Roots. I just want to say, Calm's Roots is action speed, Stampede is movement speed. So with these boots, you're still going to get slowed by Chill, Cirrus Beams, Temp Chains, stuff like that, because they're not movement speed reductions, they're action speed reductions. Now, this is a downside, but I think if this come with action speed, they'll basically be too overpowered for one item. So I think for things like minion builds and stuff like that, these can be really helpful. They also have the positive, unlike Calm's Roots, they do have sockets that you can put gems in. Calm's Roots doesn't have any. So those are my 10 uniques I think will make a comeback this league or be as popular as ever. What are your thoughts? In my haste, as I missed some blatant items that are going to be really overpowered or super popular, just let me know in the comments. If you do like this sort of content and you find it helpful, please consider hitting like and subscribing. It really helps. Got much more content to come ahead of the league launch. So take care and I'll see you all in the next video.